Okay, so here we go. The BFL All-American, Lake Hartwell, coming up. Just a few days, I packed the truck up, packed the boat up, and I head down to the lake. I'm really excited about this tournament. I've been thinking about it for over a year now since I qualified in the Potomac River. Feel really humbled and blessed to have made this tournament. I know a lot of guys fish for a long, long time, and some of them never make it. I can't really remember, trying to think how long I've been fishing BFLs. I want to say it's been at least 6 or 7 years, maybe more. I think maybe 7 years, maybe 8 years, but I fished as a co-angler for several years before I fished as a boater, and I think I've fished around 60 BFL tournaments total. I've fished a lot of tournaments, and at least in my mind I have BFLs, just strictly BFLs, and I made it last year, and I was ecstatic. I can't tell you how happy I was to make this tournament. And like anything in fishing, I made it by ounces. So I remember sitting there in the Potomac River watching the weigh-in, and I think when I weighed in, I think I was actually in first place for maybe 20 or 30 minutes, and the anticipation of it. Then I slowly started working down, and then I was like third place for a while and fourth place, and then I stayed at fifth place. The top 6 in the regional make the BFL All-American, and I literally think I made it by like 2 ounces. It was really close, but I made it, and at the time it was almost surreal. I couldn't believe it had happened, and all of us guys that fish BFLs, what I'm talking about. We would all love to win a BFL, but for me personally, I can say my goal is at the beginning of the year is always to make the regional and always to have a shot at the FLW All-American. And so here I am. In a couple days, I will be fishing the All-American, and I am pumped. It's no doubt the biggest tournament that I've ever fished in my career, and I'm really looking forward to it. It's been a challenge for FLW to pull this tournament off this year with COVID. It's been rescheduled, and it was supposed to go in April. Now it's going in November, and I was a little worried they were going to cancel it altogether. But FLW came through, and they're going to hold the tournament. It's going to be a little different from what I understand. Looks like we're going to do an outdoor registration. Talking to some of the guys who made it before, it was typically an indoor registration with a dinner, and but regardless where we're at and where we do the weigh-in, it is the All-American, and it's a good deal. I will tell you, that's one of the questions that I had. You hear a lot of rumors about what they do for you in the All-American, and FLW certainly plays this up, and I think maybe it's Major League Fishing FLW now. I'm not so sure. I think maybe next year it's just Major League Fishing, but for now it's still FLW, and they have done a lot to make this tournament happen. I know they contacted the anglers and they talked to a lot of us about what they were thinking and what was going on, and I appreciate the fact that given the current situation in the country, COVID is going up right now, and I kept thinking, well, man, they're going to cancel it again. But here, it's 2 days out, and the tournament is still going, so I'm pretty pumped up about that. They, as far as the payouts go for the guys out there that wonder, what's the deal with the All-American, the last place guy gets, best I can tell, $1,500. So that's great, And if you're Phoenix qualified, I think Phoenix kicks in another grand. It used to be Ranger. I've got a Ranger, and Ranger changed their payout this year because they're no longer the title series. I think they pay out $1,000 for the top 10. It used to be anybody that had a Ranger, they would pay it out. The other piece that I figured out is you qualify for, I believe it's the FLW Series Championship. The top boater in each regional qualifies to go on to that, and I think the payout for that is a couple $100,000. That's new for this year. They have helped out with hotel fees. They've covered a portion of my hotel fees, and they're supposed to provide us a check for gas and oil when we get down there, and I believe some food as well. So, certainly any tournament that we fish as weekend anglers, that's above and beyond. And it is televised. I don't know how they're going to work it as far as camera boats goes, but we'll see. Regardless, it's a great deal for us kind of weekend BFL anglers. They call it the poor man's classic, or the weekend anglers classic, and I'm really looking forward to it. As far as the fishing goes down in Lake Hartwell, I probably have done what most of the other guys have done, unless there's a couple of professionals in this tournament. There's more than a couple. There's quite a few. And some of them live really close to Lake Hartwell. I'm not one of those guys. I've got an 8-hour drive down to this place, and I fished it one time back in 2016. I was a co-angler on the FLW Tour, and I spent, I think, 3 days practicing with Joshua Weaver and a couple days in the tournament. Didn't really do that well in that tournament, but, it's not the first time I've been, but it's pretty close to the first time I've ever been to Lake Hartwell. What preparation have I done? I've watched videos. I've paid attention to how they've been catching fish down there. I think it's certainly a spotted bass lake. I'm not so sure how it's setting up. I know they've got the ABA national tournament that's going on right now down there, and I've been looking at those weights. Anything in public domain is okay. It's been off limits. The lake's been off limits to the All-American qualifiers for a while now, for weeks. And we get 1 day of practice. That's all we get. That really surprised me. I figured the All-American you would get 2 or 3 days of practice, but for this particular tournament, you register on Monday, we get to practice on Tuesday, and the tournament kicks off on Wednesday. And some of that, I believe, is certainly COVID related. They're trying to kind of get us in and out. And I believe the tournament typically went, at least a portion of it, on the weekends. And this time it's all during the week. And, it is what it is. I'm going to go down and I'm going to fish my strengths. And I'm going to hope that works out. I don't know really any inside information about Lake Hartwell. I don't know any secret baits or lures or places. It's really going to be me just trying to fish the moment and see what's going on around me, looking at the water conditions and the clarity, and hoping I can put something together. As far as my confidence level, it's I'm confident that I can go down there and catch some fish, right? It's and I think that's the way most good fishermen are. And there's a lot of good fishermen in this tournament, so I know I can go down there and catch some fish. Are they going to be the biggest fish in the lake? Are they going to be the ones I need to win or place high in the tournament? That's hard to tell. I certainly hope it is. I'm going to throw some baits that I think will generate some big bites. And the great thing about this tournament is, it's not costing me much, and it's you're guaranteed $1,500 last place. And, it's not all about the money, and in fact, really, it's not about the money at all. For those that fish BFLs, it doesn't take you long to figure out that, hey, I'm spending a lot more money than I'm making, Even if you win a tournament during the year, you probably just break it even. If you're fishing all the divisions and you're taking the time to practice, time you throw in hotels and gas and oil and travel expenses and tackle, it's really nothing that you're doing for the money. Of course, if you win one of these big tournaments, yeah, you win a lot of money. But that's that's a few guys. It's a handful of guys that win these big tournaments. But it's certainly possible. I think the winner gets, I believe it's $100,000 for the All-American. And if you were to win, you would be on TV and you would have the $100,000 check. And it's been a springboard for a lot of guys' careers. I just kind of thinking about the guys that have won the All-American in the past, and most of them are now professional fishermen. Jacob Wheeler comes to mind, and old school guys like Shaw Grigsby, and I think maybe Larry Nixon. I think Rick Clunn might have won the All-American. I believe I remember reading that. A lot of these guys that we kind of grew up watching fish won the All-American, and a ton of them have qualified for the All-American, a lot of these professionals. So it certainly can be a launching board or a springboard for a professional career if that's what you want to do. But I wanted to make a video just letting you guys know what I'm thinking. I'm pumped up. I'm ready to fish. I'm going to have a fun week. I'm going to give it my best, and I'm going to try to catch as many I can for all the other weekend guys that are out there just trying to do this and having fun. I'm fishing this for all of us, and I hope it works out. I hope I do well. And for all of you watching, I'll make another video and let you know how it goes. I don't know how they're going to let me, YouTube this or not, or not YouTube it, but have my GoPro in the boat. I'm assuming they will. That's my plan, is to try to GoPro as much of the tournament as I can. But I hope everybody's having a great weekend. Next week is Veterans Day. I'd be remiss if I didn't mention that. Just a shout out to all the veterans out there, past, present, and future. Thanks for everything you do. I don't think it's a secret that I'm an active duty Marine. It's kind of what I dedicated my youth to. And I've been in the Marine Corps a long time. So it's a great week, right? It's Veterans Day. It's the Marine Corps birthday next week. We had a great cake cutting ceremony on Friday. For those of you who don't know, Marine Corps birthday is on 10 November. So, a lot of great things happening. The All-American, Veterans Day, the Marine Corps birthday. I'm going to have a good time next week. And I hope you guys get to watch some of the weigh-ins and, keep track of how I'm doing and how all the other guys are doing. Really blessed and humbled to be where I'm at. And I wish everybody the best, and I'll talk to y'all later. Bye-bye.